So thanks for coming in, Miss Price.
Thanks for having me.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. So before we get started, I want to tell you a little bit about myself and explain to you our confidentiality policy. Is that all right?
Okay.
So my name is Brandy Sherbert. I'm a social work intern for the University of Alabama. And today we're going to be getting to know you a little better and understand why you're here today and the reasons that brought you in. And our confidentiality policy is that if everything that you say to me in this room stays in this room, except for a few conditions. If you tell me that you plan on hurting yourself, hurting someone else, or if you are aware of any child abuse going on, those three situations I would have to inform my supervisor, and then it will void confidentiality. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's fine.
Do you have any questions?
I don't think so.
All right. So we'll start, and I'll be writing throughout our appointment, and I'll just start with your name. So Emily Price,
Yes.
and everything is common spelling.
Yes.
And your date of birth?
11/20/98.
11/20/98. All right. Okay. And so, kind of tell me what's brought you in.
I feel like I just need to talk to somebody. I'm going through kind of a separation/divorce right now, so I feel like I just need to talk to somebody that's like outside of my family.
Understandable. Could you go into detail about the nature of the separation?
Yeah, basically, I got married in October. Me and my husband, or ex-husband, whatever you want to call it, have been together. This Christmas would have made 4 years. So when we got married in October, there was just like a lot of change, like a shift in our relationship, and I feel like he became more controlling of the situation and me, and there became a point where I just basically had to get out of the situation, I guess.
Okay. And so you're self-referred, you weren't told to come by anybody?
No, yeah, I just came to talk to somebody. I didn't get a referral or anything.
Okay, that's fine. So would you be willing to talk about your background and family history, immediate family members?
Yeah, sure. I'm pretty close with my parents. They're kind of crazy. My dad is an alcoholic. And me and my mom are really close. And me and my dad have gotten closer, like as I've gotten older, but when I was growing up we had a lot of issues. But I have one brother. I have my grandmother on my mom's side is still living, and both of my grandparents on my dad's side are still living. And I'm pretty close with them too. I mean, regular.
Do you feel that they've been supportive in your separation?
Yes, 100%. My parents have backed me up the whole way, and my grandmother also. I live on my grandparents' property. She has 40 acres, and I have a mobile home on her property, and that's where me and my husband were living. And so, basically, when we separated, she was very supportive of me staying there alone. So,
Are you comfortable staying there alone?
yeah, I mean, I'm not really, it doesn't bother me to be, to live alone or anything like that, but, that's not going to be like my forever home. Like, I'll probably move eventually, but I don't want to move right now because my grandfather on that side just passed away this summer, and so,
sorry.
oh, that's okay, thank you. But, my grandmother is alone now over there, and I don't want to, I feel bad about moving out and leaving her there by herself, so I'll be there for a little bit. And also it's financially like a good decision to stay there because I don't have a house payment. The mobile home that I live in is paid for, so it's good for me to be able to stay there and save some money.
Okay. Do you feel safe there?
Yeah. I mean, it's fine. I mean, my grandmother's like literally right up the driveway, so I don't feel like anybody's gonna get me or anything.
Okay. Could you tell me about your education and or employment history?
Sure. I went to the University of Montevallo for social work. I graduated in May with a bachelor's in social work. I worked at Montevallo while I was going to school there. And then I did my internship from January to May. I got placed at Glenwood, which is a resident facility for autistic children and adults with autism and severe emotional disorders. And so after I graduated, they hired me like right out the gate. So I've been working there since May.
Awesome. That's excellent. Do you have any physical medical history?
Like my antidepressants and stuff.
That would count.
I was on an antidepressant. For a while I was taking Prozac. But recently I stopped taking it because I went to the doctor to get it refilled, and I told her that I wanted to come off of it anyway. Like I don't really like taking it that much, which is stupid, but anyway, so I went to the doctor and she was gonna bump my milligrams down, and she refilled it, and then I went to CVS to pick it up, and it never got refilled, so I just like basically quit taking it cold turkey, which I know is terrible, but so I'm not on any. That was probably like 2 or 3 weeks ago, so right now I'm not on anything except birth control.
Okay, and have you had any side effects from just quitting?
I don't think so. I mean, I quit right around the time that the separation and everything started, so if I had any like mood or emotional side effects, I think I attributed it to the separation. But pretty much I feel like I'm out of the woods now with it, you know.
And so you don't feel that you need to be on any medication, or maybe, you know, other than Prozac?
I don't think so. I think I have really like proved to myself that I can handle just like going in life without any medication, because like if I can go through this messy separation without anything, I can do it. You know what I mean? So no, I'm good. I mean, I haven't had any suicidal thoughts or anything like that, so I don't feel like I need it right now.
Okay. And do you have any physical disabilities or procedures that have been done recently?
No. I do have polycystic ovarian syndrome.
Okay.
I was diagnosed with that when I was probably like 13 or 14.
And what is that exactly?
Polycystic ovarian syndrome is I guess it's like a hormone disorder. I don't know. I haven't really researched it as much as I should, but it causes like cysts on your ovaries, and it causes like trouble getting pregnant, like infertility, and like it causes me to have like facial hair and acne and overweight, like, and depression is a side effect of it. So like there's like a lot of things, which is why I started back taking my birth control to try to get my hormones back regulated.
Right.
But other than that, I mean, I'm pretty healthy.
That's good. Okay, so you mentioned that your separation was messy. What exactly do you mean by messy?
I feel like it was messy. I mean, I know, you know, some people have like really worse things to do, but like it was bad because he wouldn't leave. Like the house, the mobile home that we were living in is mine. Like it belongs to my family. They gave it to me. And so like when we separated, he had to leave and go somewhere else, and I was gonna stay there.
Right.
And he wouldn't leave. Like he stayed at the house, and he like refused to leave, and he said, "I'll leave when you come talk to me. We need to talk about this." And I was like, "You just need to go." Anyway, so my parents had to come over there and basically make him leave my house. which was traumatic because I was like, and he like sat in the floor of my house and cried, and he like grabbed me by my legs and like was like begging me like, please give me another chance, and like I was just like, just get out, you know. So I don't know, I think that it's been hard for me because he still calls me and texts me and he still wants to like get back together, and I'm done at this point. Like I feel like I've like liberated myself. Like I feel so relieved to be able to go home and like not have to deal with anything. And like I live alone now, so like the house is the same way it was when I left. Like it's not like somebody made a mess and it's my job to clean it up. Like it's really a relief for me. Like, but anyway, about it being messy, I think that it just was hard for both of us, but it was just so bad that he wouldn't leave, and then like he still continues to call me and everything, and it's just.
So what were some of the things that that led up to the separation? You mentioned that he was controlling, but could you go into detail about what that was like?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of things. I feel like there was a lot of different things that led me to this point. It wasn't like one thing that I was just like, okay, I'm done. But to hit the highlights of it, I feel like he isolated me from my family. He didn't like me talking to my mom and my dad. And like I said earlier, my parents are crazy. Like my dad is an alcoholic, so like they have their own issues. But regardless of how I feel about them or what they've got going on, those are just my parents, and they've always had my back. And I love them. And so it was really hard for me because I felt like I was isolated from everybody besides him, basically. Like I felt like I couldn't hang out with my friends because he was always like, just like jealous. Like he would be like, well, you're working a lot, and then when I'm not working, it would be like he wanted me to dedicate my time to him, which I understand, but like it just got to like a severe point that it was just like ridiculous. And anyway, so controlling in that way of like isolating me from everybody but him, and then like financially he made me go. I had a bank account on my own, and he made me go and put him on my bank account, and he like presented it to me like, well, if something happens, you know, you need to be on my bank account, you know, in case we need to get in each other's account or whatever. But we have a joint account together, and I had an account by myself and he has an account by himself. I'm not on the account that he has by himself, but he made me go put him on my account. Okay. Like it's just, and he was in control of like the money and everything, which like I didn't have a problem with because I never like needed anything, so like that wasn't that big of a deal to me. But like when we got married, I think that he expected me to be like a stay-at-home wife, and I wasn't ready to have children. He basically guilt-tripped me into making me stop taking my birth control. Okay. And he was like, the only thing I've ever wanted was a baby. And like, I want kids, but I feel like we had so much going on. I felt like it was unfair for me to bring a child into the situation. And he just couldn't see that. Like, I think that he was like, he thought if we had a baby, it would fix our problems or whatever. And I didn't agree with that. And so it was just a lot of like controlling things that. Oh, and also there was like 2 times that he put his hands on me. Like he grabbed me up by my arm and like left bruises on me. He never like hit me in the face or anything, but he did snatch me up basically. And like even after that happened about him like putting his hands on me, like I let it rock on for a while because like I don't know, like it was always presented to me like, I'm sorry, but you made me do this. Like I'm sorry, but you tried to do this or whatever. Like it was always somehow turning around on me, and like eventually I just got to the point where I couldn't take it anymore.
Right. Well, I'm terribly sorry about the physical abuse and the emotional controlling, and that's really heavy. It's scary and it's a lot to deal with. So I want to congratulate you on even on getting yourself out of that situation and for deciding to come and speak with me and see what we can do to better your situation going forward. So you've already got your bachelor's degree, which is amazing. That's awesome. And you know what you want to do. And you like your job
I love it.
at Glenwood. You love it. What about it do you love?
It's crazy to me because I never thought that that's what I would be doing. I actually work on the SED side of Glenwood, so I work with like boys from ages 12 to 14, and they have severe emotional disorders. And I never thought that that would be what I was doing, but like, it's almost like I feel like these are the kids that nobody wants, and so it makes me happy that like I feel like I can make a difference in their life. Like on Mother's Day, I worked on Mother's Day, and they were like, "Miss Emily, happy Mother's Day," and I was like, "Oh, I appreciate that, but I'm not a mother." And they were like, "Well, you're like a mother to us. You take care of us," and I was just like, it was really sweet. So
Yeah.
I really like it. I like the boys, and I like the people that I work with too. So
Well, that's awesome. And what about hobbies? Do you have any hobbies?
not really. That's something that I've always struggled with. I like to hang out with my friends. I like to hang out with my parents, or like my mom specifically. I like to go like yard selling and thrift store shopping and like antique shopping and stuff like that. Cause like I'm really stingy about spending money. I would rather go like to a thrift store, but that's something that me and my mom do a lot. Like on the weekends, we'll go and like just drive around and look for yard sales, and like that really makes me happy. Brings me a lot of joy. So, and I like to, once I get home from work, watch TV and like chill out. Take a nice bath, have self-care.
So important. So, understanding that your previous relationship was abusive and that you've gotten yourself out of it and you feel safe in your home, what would you like to get out of sessions with me?
I think that I need to find the strength to be able to move on. Like, it's hard for me because, like I said, he continues to text me, continues to call me, and in his mind, he still thinks that there's like a possibility that we're going to get back together. Because he thinks that if he, becomes a better person and starts, living his life like how he's supposed to, like the Sunday after we separated, he went to church and got baptized. Like, he uses, I feel like, religion as like a guilt trip to make me feel bad.
Right.
And
for still being hesitant.
Yeah, like it's like he wants me to think, okay, well, he's being a better person, which I'm glad. Like, I told him, I was like, I'm proud of you for doing that, but you need to do that for you, like, not for me. Like not because you want to save our marriage or whatever, because in my mind, I'm over it. Like, that ship has sailed. And so it's just, I feel like there's too much scar tissue and like there's too much hurt in order for me to go back into that situation. Even if he like completely turns his life around, I will never be able to be the same in that situation. And I just, like, there's a lot of things that like trigger me now because it's like, I'm like traumatized, I guess, by like,
absolutely,
by like the emotional abuse. Like, I'll like text my friends and be like if we are talking or something, I'll be like, are you mad at me? Like, I always think that everybody's mad at me, or like that, like people, it's just like crazy to me because I'm like, my brain has been like trained to, I guess that's something else I need out of session, is to be like, know that not everybody's against me and like not everybody is mad at me. And I don't know if that's like anxiety or like, just stress from your brain being trained a certain way for so long. But that's something that I'm gonna have to unlearn, And also I need to learn how to be by myself, because there was a lot of things like while I was in a relationship, like I wasn't allowed to stop and put gas in my own car. I wasn't allowed to go grocery shopping by myself. And like, I'm gonna have to learn basically how to be an adult, like how to live on my own and provide for myself, which not necessarily financially, like I make enough money to live on my own, but like just regular things that normal people do that I haven't done by myself.
Okay. So how does this sound? As far as goals, we're looking at long-term goals and short-term goals. For long-term goals, we want you to be in a place where you feel confident, you understand your self-worth, and you practice self-love, and so that you no longer question yourselves in those close friendships or family relationships or future intimate relationships. Yes, that's where you would like to be for a long-term goal.
Yes.
Okay. And so for short-term goals are things that we can do on a more frequent basis to get to that long-term goal.
Okay.
So what do you think that you could do on a weekly or daily basis that would get you to a place where you're feeling confident in yourself, in your relationships? And a goal you mentioned of wanting to move on, things that we can do to help you along down that path.
Yeah, I mean, I really just think it's time to not necessarily move on and like get into another relationship, but just I don't want to look back anymore. Like I don't want to have to keep telling him, which I mean I know you can't control what he texts me or calls me. I'm just saying like I don't want to have to keep saying I don't want to do this. I don't know how to tell him. Like I've already told him that I don't want to get back together. But he thinks like somewhere in his mind that we're going to get back together, and it's like he can't understand that I'm like seriously done.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's hard for me because like I'm having to keep reminding him and myself like I made the right decision.
Okay. So is there a way for you to eliminate his ability to contact you?
I could, like I really could, but like right now, like I could just stop talking to him, I guess. I mean, I could just block him and like not talk to him, but that's hard for me because I feel like even though this is a person that has hurt me and like traumatized me basically, it's like I still love him and I don't want him to hurt. Like no matter how bad he's hurt me, I don't want to cut all ties from him and him be hurting. Mm-hmm. And also he's made like suicidal threats, like he was gonna kill himself if we ever broke up and stuff. And so it's scary to me that if I just like cut him off completely, I'm afraid that he will like hurt himself or something.
Okay. So for a short-term goal, since you're not comfortable with completely severing ties, then we build boundaries.
Okay.
So a short-term goal, build boundaries. And so when he texts you talking about that he's missing you and loving you and changing and wanting to get back together, what is something kind and to the point that could be your response? Because we don't want him hurting either, but we have to protect you.
And I don't want to give him the wrong impression to think that I'm like trying to go back into it.
Right. Yeah, firm and kind. So how do you think that would look?
Well, what I've been saying, but I don't know if this is like appropriate or not. I've been saying I love you too, but I need space away from you.
Mm-hmm.
Which maybe that's my fault. Like I think that maybe leaves room for him to think that we may get back together.
It sounds a little open-ended, but that's okay if that's the goal.
I don't want to get back together. Like I know in my heart and my mind that I don't want to do it, but it's hard. It's so hard for me to just say, to just cut ties. Like even though I have told him I don't want to get back together. Like I need to be away from you. Like I can't do this anymore. Mm-hmm. It's just like to keep telling him and keep telling him, and I don't know what to say to make him understand that I'm finished.
Okay. How about, and this can be tweaked along the lines, something like, whatever he says to you, I understand. I'm only prepared for friendship if that's true. I understand. Friendship is the best I can do. I need space. And
That
then,
sounds good.
and then maybe, and that's gonna hurt him a little bit because it's you telling him that friendship is the best that you can do eliminates possibilities for anything beyond a platonic relationship, without eliminating him from your life altogether. So, I think that
sounds good.
And it can, that's just in a suggestion, you can change it, the wording but we want it, firm and short.
And to the point.
Yeah, very direct without being cold.
And that way he can't misinterpret it. Like, this is what I want, this is what I need.
Yeah, because I think the I love you, I need space is giving more than you might. He's interpreting it as what is different than what you're saying. So the door might not be open, but the window is.
Yeah. And like I said, I think some of it's my fault because
Well, it's an incredibly hard position to be in, so it's not about fault. You're not at fault.
And he's guilt tripped me. Well, you don't love me anymore. You don't love me. You don't want to be with me. And it's not that I don't love him. I do have love for him, but I don't love the person that he's become and the way that he's treated me.
Right.
And I tried to explain it to him. It's not that I don't love you. It's just I love myself more.
Right.
Is how I feel.
And you should.
I love you, but I love myself more. And so my first priority is my safety and my mental health and my, what I need to do in my life.
Yes. So that'll be our first short-term goal is to find your boundary and make it clear. And our next thing to do is, so your step towards that boundary is to come up with your script, what your phrase is going to be, which we talked about a little bit, and you might go back and change it or whatever feels comfortable. And when would you start implementing this short-term goal of boundaries?
I could start it today. Because it's an ongoing thing. It's an everyday thing that's I have to repeat myself every day. So
the contact is constant.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right. Okay, so for your other long-term goal of building back up your self-worth, what would that look like for you on a daily or weekly basis? What could we do?
I feel like I've kind of already started doing this because I think that when I was in that relationship, I stopped taking care of myself. I stopped wearing makeup. I stopped really making myself presentable, which not that my self-worth is tied to my physical looks, but it makes me feel better. So I went and got my nails done this weekend because it made me feel better.
Right.
And on Friday, tomorrow, I'm gonna go get my hair done. I'm gonna go get my hair cut because I want to cut my hair and I haven't been able to. And so I think that's I'm not saying I need to go get my nails done every week, but I need to focus on taking care of myself and doing things that make me happy. If I want to wear makeup, I'll wear makeup. Because I stopped wearing makeup because he was always who are you wearing makeup for? Why are you trying to look good? You're trying to be single. You're walking around like you want to be seen. So I just let myself go. I just didn't care anymore because it was easier to just
To not have to fight.
Yeah, it was easier to just be in, you know, leggings and a t-shirt than to like dress up and make myself feel good because it was like an argument about it. So I mean, I think I can start like taking care of myself and start doing some things that like boost my self-confidence.
So let's say once a week you dress up and you do your makeup and you do your hair and you go somewhere. If it's to work or if it's to the grocery store or heck, do it just to go pump gas. I mean, so that's what we'll do. So once a week, at least once a week, we're gonna dress up in one of your, whatever outfit, dress, jeans make you feel really good about yourself, makeup and hair, and go out. Maybe take yourself to a movie, call up a friend, go out together, whatever makes you feel best, at least once a week. If not more, do it more.
Okay.
Okay, so your target, we're targeting to do it once a week. When can you start doing that?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, so 7/9/2021. Alright. Double checking, making sure that we've gotten through all of your goals that we wanted to. So we know building our self-worth, practicing that self-love by taking yourself out once a week, building boundaries by coming up with what you're going to say to your ex when he contacts you. Or is there anything else, a third that you might want to work towards?
Yes, I need to work on triggers.
Triggers, okay.
I think that a lot of times I get triggered by like, just like if I think that somebody's mad at me, or even like, I mean, it's normal for, you know, you to have a disagreement with somebody or something, but it like sends me into full blown panic mode because it's like, I'm just so afraid of arguing with people. Like even with my mom, like I do this with my mom, like I'll be like, are you, you know, mad at me? Are you whatever? Like, and it's hard for me to like get past, like I know that it's normal for somebody to like be, you know, you have a disagreement or whatever, but like it's just hard for me to get past the trigger and be like, this person doesn't hate me.
Mm-hmm.
They just, you know, we had a disagreement or whatever.
So what you're saying is, even in cases where the other person hasn't given you any reason to believe that they're mad at you, you still think that they may be? Could you give me an example?
Like today, I was on my way earlier this morning to my friend's house, and I texted her and told her that I was going to be late, and she was like, okay, it's cool. And I was like, are you mad at me? Just because I was like terrified that I don't want her to be mad at me that I'm running late. Like I know she doesn't care, but it was, and she was like, no, why would I be mad at you? And I was just like, I don't know. Like it's just.
Where's it coming from?
I think it's coming from the fact of like, I always, like ever since I've been dating him and we got married and started arguing and everything, it's like he was constantly mad at me about something. Like he was constantly mad about if I left dishes in the sink, and it was like always walking on eggshells. Like when I come home, like what's he gonna be mad about today? And so it's like I have this like ingrown thing in my brain that like makes me think that somebody's gonna be mad at me, which it's not true. Like, but it's just, I don't know what it is. Like, just makes me think that people, I mean, like my brain is lying to me and make me think that people are mad at me when they're not.
Yeah. And that kind of plays back into the self-worth, is you don't think that you're maybe worthy enough to have friends that are forgiving and real and trusting, or that you can trust to still be your friend even if they do get mad. So working on triggers is the long-term goal. What can we do on a daily basis to combat how you feel in those situations?
I think that I need to step out and give a little leap of faith and just start trusting people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's gonna be really hard for me to learn to trust people again, but it's like I have to get to a point where I can like be in like a friendship or like any type of relationship and not be
Second guessing.
yeah, like I have to trust myself and people, like
Mm-hmm.
other people. And so I think I just need to start like really, really working on trusting people and like don't second guess myself and like don't think everybody's mad at me or like the world's against me.
Okay. Yeah, I totally agree. So how about when you feel the need to ask if you're mad at me, don't. Or
It's
What do
almost
you
like
think?
reassurance. Like I
Right.
need reassurance to like make me feel secure. Like I'm like, okay, this person doesn't hate me. Like I don't know.
That's a tough one. I would say let's work on getting away from asking, and every time you want to ask, tell yourself that you're loved. So and so loves me. And just practice. I'm sure there are going to be times where you might ask anyway, but it's every day is a new slate, and we start every day, and we try not to ask. And if you slip up and you ask one time, that's okay. Forgive yourself, because we know what the answer is going to be. They're not mad at you. Of course not. They love you. So our short-term goal, or our everyday goal, and that's going to be every day, is when you get triggered to ask, don't. Try not to, because you know the answer. I think you deep down know the answer, and you just want to hear it.
Yeah.
But work on building,
reassuring myself.
Yes, exactly. Like work on, instead of looking to be validated by others, validate yourself. And I know that's hard and it's super easy to say, but if we do it every day, it gets easier and easier, and eventually you won't even think to ask, because it'll just be something you know. You know deep down your friends love you. So don't ask. Plus, your friends and the relationship are completely separate relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And so try and keep, and I know this is all good and well and easier said than done, but feelings that you feel because of that relationship, try not to put on the other relationships, because they won't understand where it's coming from. They won't understand why you always think they're mad at them. They're gonna second guess the way that they're talking to you, when the way they're talking is normal. So every day, and you can start doing that right now. 7, 8, 9. All right, so self-care, working on our triggers, and building boundaries. And that feels good?
I feel good about it.
Excellent. Okay. All right, so we have services that are available that if you feel that they're necessary, or that I would suggest if I felt they were necessary to help attain your goals. So individual counseling, which is like what we're doing. What frequency do you think would best help you?
Probably like, if not once a week, then every other week.
We can do once a week. That's totally doable. Group counseling?
I don't think so.
Okay, that's fine. Family counseling?
I don't think so.
Okay. I know you mentioned you and your family are close. Physician's assessment, like a physical, a diagnostic testing, medication monitoring.
I don't think so. Because like I mean I'm not on anything right now.
All right, and you're sure you're fine with that? Excellent. All right. Residential or 24-hour protective oversight, and you feel safe in your home, 100%.
Yeah.
Good. Day treatment. Group family support and intervention. Mental health consultation.
What would that be?
That would be, you would sit down with a psychiatrist and they would go over most likely how you were on Prozac and how you stopped, and if you were still experiencing any depression or anxieties, whatever reasons that you started the Prozac to begin with, if any of those are still present in your life today.
I mean, I could do that, but I mean, I feel like I have it under control, but it may be helpful for me to like talk to somebody else about it.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll get that scheduled for you to talk to them, just in case. Crisis intervention, medication trials. Okay. Individual behavior management plan, which is kind of what we've done. Working on your short and long term goals, and so we'll check that because we are doing that. Individualized self-control or safety plan. So I know you said you feel safe in your home, and in the event that your ex-husband were to show up, do you have a plan in place so that you would remain safe in that home?
If he was to show up, I would just leave and go to my parents' house. I mean,
considering that he had been physical in the past, do you believe that that would be an option?
Of leaving?
Yes.
I mean, I think well, I don't know, because like sometimes when we were arguing, he would like block the door so I couldn't leave.
Okay.
So maybe I need to come up with a plan.
Yeah, we need to work on that. Whether that be setting up between you and one of your parents or your grandmother, a text message that would seem innocuous or common, like I'm going to the store, or something that would signal to them that you need help.
Yeah.
Would be a good safety plan, just in case. It can hurt. Intensive residential treatment? No. Anything else? Is there anything else that you could think of that you might, any kind of services that you may need?
I don't think so.
Alright. Are there any risk factors related to our safety interventions, or are there any obstacles to these goals that we've set up?
I don't think so. I think they're really doable. I'm just gonna have to put the work in.
Right. Okay, and we talked about your medical conditions of PCOS and your history of abuse and trauma. Is that isolated with the husband?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, other than like, I mean, you know, I had a hard time growing up sometimes with my dad being an alcoholic and all that, but I mean, that was never really, I would say that was more like emotional.
Okay. So the abuse or the tough time that you had with your dad was emotional because of his drinking? Was that, what did that look like exactly?
He was a mean drunk. He was terrible to my mom. He treated her like trash. I mean, he was awful to her, and I always felt like I had to stand up for her. because she just like took it. And there was like a couple of times that me and him got into like a physical fight. Like there was one time that he like pushed me on the ground, but I mean he never like hit me or anything like that. But I mean we would stand toe to toe and cuss each other out. I mean just because I didn't like the way that he talked to my mom, and so I would take the brunt of it, and it would be like, or he would like come in drinking and cussing and carrying on, and everybody else would just turn the other cheek, and I would be like, I don't put up with that, you know, which caused us to fight and caused us to argue and caused us to have a lot of problems because I didn't just ignore it.
Mm-hmm. That is most about everything. How do you feel?
I feel good. I feel like this was really productive, and I feel like these are doable goals for me. I'm just gonna have to work on them.
Right, and then we'll meet weekly and just keep tracking and make sure that you remain in a good space mentally and that you stay physically safe and that all of your needs are being met, everything that we can do for you, and we will schedule you again for next week.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
You're so welcome. I hope you have a good week.
It was nice to meet you.
You too.